in the big bilge tank. We'll keep you in the know in the big bilge tank. We'll fix your techie woes and we'll break things and we'll make things till we're all together raking and we'll raise a cup of grog down in the big bilge tank. In the big bilge tank. Come and join our pirate crew in the big bilge tank.
We will show you what to do.
And we'll hack it till we crack it and we'll tell the world about it and forget to tidy up. That's why it's now a bilge tank.
Hello and welcome to episode 008 of the Bilge Tank from Sheffield-on-Sea.
Hi.
Hi. We're going to start today with the Code Club news.
Yeah, news hot off the press.
Big
literally
story.
as of a few hours ago.
Yeah.
Code Club and Raspberry Pi are one united whole.
They are. Code Club is becoming a wholly owned subsidiary. I
Technically,
believe is
yeah.
The, phrase
They get to
used.
keep its name and its look and
Nice,
half the
very
house.
cool. And Code Club is an organisation that has something like 4,000 clubs across the UK, I think. It's quite a big movement, really.
Yeah, they've caught on extremely well. I
Yeah.
think just by working at it really hard and capturing imagination and just doing things simply and well.
They do, and one of the really interesting stats with Code Club is that they have a large membership of girls as well. So it's not just like 95% boys and a few girls getting involved. It's quite well spread, which is it's excellent. Really, it's what you need to do to encourage people to get into computers.
Yeah, just got on with it really without being kind of unfriendly. Friendly, that's the word.
Yeah,
Friendly.
So that's very exciting. Presumably that means that combined they're going to be able to do even more.
Yeah.
So big story.
This is kind of the first kind of palpable sign we've got that Philip is now the new CEO and doing cool stuff.
Yeah,
nice
absolutely.
guy.
Philip
Not
Colligan.
me, by the way.
Yeah.
Not this Phil.
No. Yeah, you arranged that single-handedly, didn't you? You just rang up Code Club and Raspberry Pi and put the phones together.
Chink.
Yeah.
So it's very cool. I think Code Club is going to continue to operate pretty much as it has. It just happens to now be a subsidiary of Raspberry Pi and presumably can then lean on Raspberry Pi to kind of benefit from hardware and all sorts of other support. So
They can just cover that
great.
whole spectrum of geekery in one place.
It's going to be a good thing. Just look at what they did for Magpie.
Yeah.
That's true actually.
How good that came.
I mean, Magpie was always good, volunteer run. And they got the articles in
Don't
there,
just
they got
credit
the
to
learning.
Magpie before Pi, but after Pi.
Yeah, it's slick. Well, that's because Russell's a slick guy.
Yeah, they've done a good job on it.
Yep.
Very nice. Cool. Well, let's take a look at some new stuffs.
Okay, new stuffs.
Roll it.
Right.
First up, do you want to do...
Zero Pi, yeah. That's not Zero Pi. God damn it,
There we
Bilge,
go.
get it together. So Zero Pi it's kind of Raspberry Pi. It's got 4 days left and it's doing very well for itself. It's a pretty well designed board. Seems to have some affiliation with MakeBlock, which I haven't looked into too deeply. But they've got different coloured headers, which I'm an absolute sucker for.
Honestly, you swoon over that every time.
Yeah,
You're
every
like,
time.
John, look at the picture. They've got different coloured headers.
Yeah, different coloured headers are just amazing. It's really good for a 3D printer. If you want a 3D printer on your Pi, it's got the screw terminals, it's got the plugins for the common Pololu motor drivers. So when you do blow them up, you just pull them out, put a new one in, which is great. The whole thing is pretty logical. Their fit onto the Pi is a bit weird. They haven't quite nailed that. Hopefully they'll, finesse that a bit in the final version when they ship.
This looks like it's not intended to be a hat board or anything.
No, they've hedged their bets a bit, so it's Arduino compatible and Raspberry Pi compatible.
Yeah.
And it's got a 10-way header, I think, instead of the full 40-way, which is the first big hat-sized board, although it's not a hat to do that.
It's actually 11-way. Yeah, it looks like it exposes some ADC channels from the...
No, on the actual Pi header where it plugs into the GPIO.
Oh, so
You look
some sort
down,
of
there's a
adapter
photo.
is there?
No, it's just like 10 pins that it just fits on one end of your Pi
Wow.
in a slightly hinky way, which I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's only probably using the I2C to communicate with the Cortex M0 on there. Yeah, it was just a little odd. But everything off the bomb is good for kind of getting these things out there. So definitely we're going to pick one of these up and get it into a Pi Run 3D printer. And that Cortex M0, arm all the things.
Wow.
That is overkill slightly.
Yeah.
Well, it is, but it's probably cheaper than an AVR. So it's like...
It's ridiculous, isn't
It is ridiculous.
Name needs a bit of work. They should have just called it 3D Printer Pi, and it would have been like 500,000 by now, probably.
That's a pretty densely populated board, isn't it? But yeah, it looks pretty nice. decent motor drivers on there.
For those you can put stepper or regular motor drivers or potentially other stuff in those slots then.
Yeah, there's a few things you can slot in there to run various things. They've got plenty of photos of it running all the servos, all the steppers, 3D printer.
Cool.
And yeah, they seem to have some mojo. So that was very nice. I liked what they did there.
Cool project. Oh, weird. They got the USB power on the back as well.
Like a USB host device.
Oh, and this overhangs the side of the Pi slightly. True. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Ah, cool.
I'll say a little bit of tightening there could, make it feel made for purpose.
That's all right. I picked up one thing this week which I thought was awesome. A guy's basically taken for the old Game Boy had a camera module which was terrible. It was like 120 by 112 pixels or something in 2-bit colour, well 2-bit grayscale. And a guy's actually made a breakout board for it that will record. It's got a Cortex M3 on there, and it will basically show you the output from the camera on an LCD and record the camera stream at 14 frames a second with 8 kilohertz audio as well, like really bad audio. But it's such an amazing idea, and obviously he's put a lot of effort into it. It's so cool. I think I never had one of the Game Boy cameras, and I kind of lusted after them, even though they were basically useless.
While we were at Maker Fair Berlin, somebody dropped off a Game Boy printer for James, Monkey Made Me, and he was a bit over the moon. So they just have the best flea market culture in Berlin. So all this stuff is hanging around there. I wish we had a bit more of that in the UK. We have computer fairs and they're kind of okay, but we don't have that.
We have car boot sales.
They're just so terrible most of the time though.
I'm going to play the video. Can I play the video?
Ooh, we could try. I don't think
right?
you'll get any sound. You could just tick over, can't it?
Yeah. What, through HDMI? Will we get sound? I don't know. We've never tried
I haven't turned it on, so yeah. Just watch the video.
Know if we've got sound.
We won't even know because we don't have sound in here.
Oh my word, that is quite, yeah.
It's amazingly engineered, isn't it? Considering this has basically a customer base of one.
Yeah.
It's like,
I love the labels, the self-deprecating labels. They're pretty
check
amazing.
that out.
All the dithers. And that'll go straight out to a thermal printer. That's the beauty of the system.
Well, he actually records this to SD card, so it records the video and the audio to micro SD basically, and then obviously you can use it yourself for whatever you want to use it for.
Yeah,
it's kind of cool. Great project, really, really cool project.
Yeah. Speaking of thermal printers or thermal cameras, somebody had a thermal camera and I was dead excited with the Pi, and it turned out to just be a thermal printer and the camera module. So I was a bit disappointed.
Oh.
Well, was this just really badly described? Or?
No, it's perfectly accurately described. But you see thermal camera, then what we intend to see is that. Could you just whip that up, Phil? Mm-hmm. So while we're talking about thermal cameras, this is the Seek thermal camera. And this is one of the range along with the FLIR cameras where the kind of previously military level tech is now kind of having its consumer thing going on. So the people who developed this, they had the patents and everything, developed it for the military, and then after doing that, they said, right, we'll go off and make a consumer version and start their own company up again. Had a bit of a legal fight, got a few $1 million, and created this. The only problem we have is they're pushing it on Android and they're pushing it on mobile phone, on iPhone, which is great, but they just will not engage with us over getting this working on the Pi. And I think the Pi would be a great market for this. There's lots of devices out there and the community is so much more engaged to do cool stuff with it. So really guys, Seek Thermal, get in touch. Either with us, Adafruit are bugging you as well, get in touch with some of us and help us out with creating an API for this. And we'll push the hell out of it.
Have you got the app on your phone?
No, it doesn't work with many Android phones. But somebody's written some scrappy Python script, and if you use the USB on-the-go adapter, with it plugs into a Pi and it shows up as a USB camera device that you can pull data off. So it's kind of working with the Pi. We just need some help from them to make it work better and to be able to get it out there. So yeah, Seek Thermal, get in touch with us. Let's do awesome things with thermal cameras that people can actually buy without a mortgage.
Thermal cameras are awesome.
That'd be great.
Okay. So next up we have a little segment that we don't yet have a title for. So we're going to have to just fill that space.
What are we calling it?
We're calling it Learn Something, or something like Learn.
Learn something with pirates.
Yar.
Learn something with pirates.
There we go.
Okay.
Segment.
That'll do. Phil has done some cool updates for Piano Hat this week, including some new articles on the Learning Portal.
Indeed.
Some new
we've got
examples.
even more articles on Learning Portal coming as well, but not necessarily for Piano Hat, but for anything So I've written a getting started guide for Piano Hat, which will walk you through kind of the basics, setting it up using our one-line installer, and
Ooh, look at that.
just
Sorry.
stop falling about. And does that zoom to that?
Yeah, to that element.
Slick. Setting it up with a one-line installer and kind of getting you through the very basics of playing a WAV file with Pygame and what you need to set up to get that working, and how you pressing a key on the Piano Hat play a sound in Pygame. That's like the really simple basic stuff. So you can go and take this and you can make a farmyard animal piano or something hilariously similar like that.
Yeah.
And while doing that, I kind of happened across, looking through the Pygame documentation, of which there is very little, and frantically Googling to try and find out exactly why you need to do certain things in order to make it work. Because I don't like magic and unexplained bits of code. So I was trying to figure out what the different settings in Pygame Mixer and it were for, and why, etc., etc. And I happened across an example that took a NumPy array, which is NumPy is like numbers and arrays and stuff for Python. But
it's a Python number
and
library,
yeah.
Library for doing like mathematical operations and things, isn't it?
Speed stuff like that,
Yeah.
right up. So using a NumPy array and populating it with samples, you can create a sound on the fly for a Pygame note. So this example, which John's scrolling through now,
Do you want to go big screen with the example, small
go
screen with the people?
big screen.
Let's do that.
You and your demands.
I know.
So this example right here is basically programmatically generating a number of sounds, a number of loops, basically from the bass tones for the piano. So those are everything from middle C, which is kind of towards the bottom there,
Like
and
440 or
everything
something.
around it, yeah. You've got your middle C there, and then some notes around it. So those are the 13 notes of the Piano Hat keyboard.
Are these well tempered, Phil? I just about get that now.
So this
Look
is
into well tempered tuning sometimes. It's an endless and really mind-numbingly complex topic.
Yeah.
Anyway,
okay. So these are then fed into this little generate
Well,
sample
camera.
function, which is.
Sorry, kill the little camera.
Kill the little camera. Zoom in. So we've got this generate sample function, which is basically taking a frequency, a duration in seconds, a bit rate, and a sample rate, and is populating an array, which is the number of samples required to fill that duration.
So it creates a buffer
it's
that's long enough to handle that frequency
sample, yeah.
with that duration of.
And then pre-fills it just with a sine wave, which is scaled to be the max amplitude for that particular bit rate.
Mm-hmm.
So that there, highlight. And then that just sticks it into the array, and finally uses this handy function Pygame sound array, or sund array as they call it, which takes that buffer of samples and turns it into a playable sound that you can then play back in Pygame like you would a WAV file or anything else. So
Cool.
that is then fed into zoom out. Should be a function around here somewhere which says play sample. And the upshot of this is you hold a key down, it starts the particular sample playing, you can let a key go and it stops it playing. I've used fade out because I was playing with that at the time, and that's quite cool for giving you some sustain without having to worry about filters and envelopes or any of the normal technical terms. So
Let's have a demo.
I've got this up and running on this Pi here, so hopefully it'll still be working. And this is an 8-bit synth that uses very, very simple sine wave samples and 8-bit to make crazy sounds. So the reason why this is cool is because it actually involves creating sound without having a predefined wave file.
Right.
Synthesis.
So it is actual synthesis, and it's really bare bones synthesis. And this is something I've been chasing for a while on the Raspberry Pi, and in Python particularly, because there are
In a
lots
way
of
that people can understand.
yeah,
and
there are lots of
appreciate.
libraries there that do synthesis, but they are so horrendously complicated that I don't expect even myself to get my head around them, much less try and teach anyone else to use it. So
Right.
the idea of this is the simplest way that you can build a sound. Basically, you're just taking numbers and using them to create samples and then playing that back. So hopefully this will inspire some people to kind of tinker about with the sample generation function, and as Sandy McDonald mentioned, you could add a delay effect to it by taking the previous samples and copying them to the next set of samples and
almost
decreasing blending them, yeah.
samples together or whatever. Cool.
So yeah, I think it represents a little step forward in people learning to hack around with sound generation on the Pi.
Excellent. And are we going to put that into a learning portal article at some point?
Perhaps, yeah, it would be an interesting thing to do so. I want to play around with square waves and sawtooth waves and other things.
I was about to ask that.
Mathematical functions.
Yeah, I don't really know a great deal about audio, so I was going to ask. Oh, well, if I swap that sine wave out for something else, what's the effect?
There is a square wave or sawtooth wave in here, which is basically just modulus, because a modulus will let you count up
and then wrap around, yeah.
Massively drop down and count back up again.
Okay.
So I've
Can you swap that on your install here?
I think I've crunched the bit depth down so much and it gets so noisy in Python that it probably does make an awful lot of difference to the sound, which is a shame because these two things should at least sound slightly different. Sawtooth should be toothier, I suppose. The technical term. It should be a bit harsher. Oh no, I've just done. Killed my example.
I'd like to say why Full does that. We've gone out of our way this week to not have matching t-shirts. Hope you appreciate that.
So this will sit there and generate samples, which takes a little while, and then it says ready.
That definitely sounds different. Crunchier.
It actually interferes with itself a bit.
Wow. It does, yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's the same way as you'd use two overlapping sawtooth waves to create kind of an edgier synth sound. Don't know any of the technical terminology because I'm not a massive synth head, but I know that if you take two sounds and you put them out of phase slightly, which is effectively what this is, then you get something like that.
Yeah, you get a nice warble.
A warble. So that is just replacing the mathematical function that creates each sample with changing it from a sine wave to just a simple modulus. So you could do the same for a square wave, which is again fairly simple to do, or for whatever other waveform you might want.
Sounds pretty cool.
Do a triangle because that's going up and then down. It would be like a sine wave except snapped.
Yeah,
I guess. She'll have to play.
Sweet. Okay. And last segment is new products.
New products.
We do have a thing. We haven't actually picked out anything particular today, but we do have, very excitingly, about 200 new products on the Pinroni store. We have bought all of the stock and the trademark and domain name of a company called Tinkersoup in Germany. We've recently launched Pinroni.de, which is still, there's a little bit of work going on there, but it means we've added their entire range to our store.
Just little things like making it in German.
Yeah, well, we're working on that, but
it
was time limited, so we could only do what we could do at the time.
Yep. Oh, John.
So yeah, we've got a load of new SparkFun stuff, which is kind of cool because we've always been a little bit light on their range, including most of the Lilypad range, which is SparkFun's wearables stuff. So yeah, there's heaps of stuff under new products, and it's well worth going to have a look. If you have looked for something with us before, not found it, we may now have it.
And you can now buy in euros at Pinroni.de.
Oh yeah. If you shop at Pinroni.de, you will be billed in euros. It's €5 shipping to most of Europe, and yeah, it should be a bit easier for our European customers basically, and it's quick shipping too.
Yeah.
You can also, a lot of like freelancers and contractors in Europe are VAT registered because the thresholds are much lower than they are in the UK. If you get in touch with us, create an account on Pinroni.de and get in touch with us with your VAT number, then we can flag you as tax exempt, have your VAT number, and generate an appropriate VAT invoice as well. So
do it the European way.
Yeah.
You can't do that in the UK, even though we are in the EU. Just no. That's for anyone outside of our little island.
Yeah, our happy place.
Yeah.
So yeah, loads and loads of new products. There's a few new Adafruit things on there as well.
The irony is that people in Germany can't see this live.
Oh yeah. Oh well, I guess
that's true. Yeah.
I guess they'll find out later.
Unless they use a VPN, but that would be naughty.
Yeah, that'd be terribly naughty. We wouldn't condone that kind of behaviour at all. Yeah, there you go.
Anyway, yes.
So that's very cool. The other small bit of news we've got is we are expecting to be stocking Genuino any day now. I mean, genuinely any day now. So it's just
European-made Genuinos?
European-made? Yeah,
Yep.
I'm not actually sure where they're making them, but we'll find that out,
Europe.
no doubt.
There was rumours of Italy and or Germany,
Yeah,
or somewhere in between.
seems likely.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're really excited to get those in. So yeah, yay Genuino. And I think that's everything for today.
Final words. The Tingbot Kickstarter is live.
It is,
Going
and they're
back
doing
in.
pretty well, aren't they? I think.
See,
Let's
live.
have a look.
How are they doing?
Live update. This content
Live
will not
update.
age, folks.
This will so age.
Boom. They are currently at
It's a snapshot in time.
8,500.
It's about
So not bad.
20%.
I thought that this would have taken off quicker because we've played with it and it's awesome, but I think it's pretty clearly going to get over the line, which is what matters.
Yeah.
It's a shame they used a picture of a grey one, which I think I said to you earlier.
I
know, but they got pictures of them down here where they're like bright
Style.
yellow and blue and yeah. You should
Guys,
put the
if
grey
you're
one at the
watching,
top.
Rainbow.
Rainbow
one.
all the way.
Yeah.
Make it rainbow. I
And
don't
nice
care.
graphics as well.
They have got nice graphics.
Yeah.
It's a well put together campaign page. It's nice.
Cool.
Oh, that's a really good animation actually. That explains it perfectly.
Yeah.
Anyway, there you go. It's cool. Phil's been modding his preview one.
Don't let anyone
No
know.
comment. No further comment on that. I'm sure we'll reveal all later. Yeah.
Okay.
That's it from us.
That's everything for this week's folks.
See you next week.
See you next week.